Today we're going to be learning how to graph linear functions when they're not in the slope-intercept form to start with. Okay. There's a couple different ways you can do it. We're going to do what I like to call the manipulation method, which we manipulate the original equation until it's in the y equals mx plus b form. Another way you could do it is to substitute some values for x and then solve for y, and then graph those and kind of work backwards. But I think that's a little cumbersome, and we're just going to try it this way. Okay, so we have here 3x plus 6y equals 12. Okay, so y equals mx plus b form would be y here by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on manipulating this equation so that y is by itself. Okay, so the first thing I notice is this 3x term. That needs to go away. Okay, so we're going to subtract it because it's a positive 3x, and so if I subtract 3x, then I get 0. But when I do on one side of my equal sign, I have to do on the other side. So we're going to subtract 3x over here. So I'm going to rewrite that neatly here, and we have 6y equals 12 minus 3x. Okay. Now, y is still not by itself. It's got the 6 coefficient. So 6 times y means that to remove the 6, I need to divide by 6. But again, what I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other. So both terms here have to get divided by that 6. And that leaves me with y equals 2 minus 1/2 x. Now this form is just fine. We've used it before where we have our starting point and then how we're going to move. But if we're going to go completely into the slope-intercept form, we're going to write it this way. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so now that we've got it in the slope-intercept form, we can identify the individual pieces. M is found in front of x, and the coefficient of x in this case is negative 1/2. So M equals negative 1/2. Likewise, the y-intercept, that's our b, okay, is found being added or subtracted. It's the constant, and in this case it is positive 2. So since b equals positive 2, the y-intercept is found at 0, 2. Always 0 for the x. The 2 is because we found it's 2. Okay, so to graph, we go on our y-axis and we find 2, and we place our point. We move negative 1/2, so that means go up 1 and to the left 2, or you can go down 1 and to the right 2. And then I like to continue the pattern just so I get a number of good points in case I'm going to have to do something else with my graph. Okay. Once I have plotted my points, I want to draw a line through them. So I line up as best I can using my straight edge through my points, and I'm going to draw an arrow on the end here because I know it goes on in both directions forever. Alright, so this is the line 3x plus 6y equals 12. Now the x-intercept we have to find is where the line crosses the x-axis. Okay, so right here's my x-axis, and this point right here is my x-intercept. So I have to count over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my x-intercept is 4, 0. All right, let's try another one. We have negative 3y plus x equals 9. So the first thing I want to do is, again, to manipulate the equation so that y is by itself. So again, I'm going to start with removing the x term. It's a plus x, so I'm going to minus x. What I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other. So now I have negative 3y equals 9 minus x. And I look, I have negative 3 is the coefficient, so it's being multiplied times y. So I want to divide by negative 3. What I do on one side of the equation, I do on the other. So y equals negative 3 plus 1/3 x. Okay? And if you're wondering how did I get 1/3, negative divided by negative is positive, and there's an understood 1 right here in front of the x. So that's how we get 1/3 x. Okay? And again, in strict y equals mx plus b form, the x term comes first, so we would write y equals 1/3 x minus 3. Or you could write plus negative 3. It's totally up to you. Okay, so the slope is m. M is found in front of our x. The coefficient of x is 1/3, so m equals 1/3. B is our y-intercept. B is located out here, and since it's minus 3, we're going to say B is negative 3, which is the coordinate 0, negative 3. So on my y-axis, find the origin, and I count down 1, 2, 3, and then I move positive 1, positive 3. Okay, and then I could reverse it and go negative 1, negative 3. Okay. Get my straight edge. My arrow, and this is the line negative 3y plus x equals 9. Again, I need the x-intercept, which is located on the x-axis. In this case, that's that point there. So counting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's at 9, 0. All right, let's try some more. Y minus 4 equals 0. Okay, again, goal is to have y by itself. So I notice that this minus 4 here is keeping y from being by itself, so I'm going to add the 4. What I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other. So y equals 4. Well, all right, to get the slope-intercept formula for the x, I don't have an x, but I do know that y equals 4. That'll be a horizontal line, and horizontal lines have 0 slope, so it would be 0x plus 4. So the slope is 0. The y-intercept is 4. So the coordinate of the y-intercept is 0, 4. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our slope being 0 means we're going to have a horizontal line through there. So that would be the line y minus 4 equals 0. The x-intercept, there isn't one. All right, let's take a look at one more. X plus 1 equals 0. Okay, strictly speaking, this won't go into slope-intercept form because there's no y. So we can't have y equals mx plus b without a y. But what we can do is manipulate the equation for graphing purposes and get the x by itself. So we're going to subtract the 1 from both sides, and we have that x equals negative 1. So the slope of an x line is undefined. And the y-intercept, it doesn't have one. Okay, so we go to negative 1 on the x-axis, place our point, and then we hopefully remember that x equals lines are vertical. Undefined slope means vertical lines. I'm not sure how else we could say it that will help us remember it, but that's kind of the deal. And so then the x-intercept is at negative 1, 0. All right, you should be ready to take on graphing linear functions 2. Please be sure to have your notes and ready to ask questions when you come to class.